You may now begin your presentation.
In this world, where everything happens super fast, it's quite hard to sit back, take the time, and contemplate. So we get very confused, we get very messed up, and we're desperate to try to make sense out of what's going on. So we take the world apart, but we have absolutely no idea what to do with the pieces. And the thing is, the farther you go, the harder it is to return, because the world has many edges, and it's so easy to fall off. What does this make this place one cruel and random world to live in? Well, of course, yes. But the case is simply so beautiful that we come to surrender to the fact that the only way to make sense of this whole dynamic complex is to plunge into it, move with it, and just join the dance. And all of a sudden, our lives, with all the decisions, the predictions, the moments, become stories. Stories not only to perceive this world, but also to feel content and to feel appreciated.
If we're going to do this, we'll do it properly. And we can't cover the whole story spectrum. At least not in this life. So we picked for you one portion of space and time. The portion that will hopefully help you join the dance. The 4 stories of Enactus Zewail City 2016 with Yasmin, Usama, Ola, Ross, Nabil, and Omar. And what's the first thing you do when you tell a story?
Well, you go back to the roots.
From within the aches and torture of their inhumane lives, a heart-melting story blossoms, grabbing the attention to the sound of their breaths in the fight. On one bank of the Nile River lies Al-Wara Island, a major contributor to banana cultivation all over Egypt. The environment there is in a long-term struggle against human activity. The people are isolated from the external world. The welfare of 5 members of the family depends on one and only one provider, the husband.
280,000 banana trees are harvested each year and, upon disposal, are either set on fire, increasing the carbon emissions in air by 141,000 tons annually, or just thrown into waterways, causing blockages and serving as substrates for bacterial growth. This increases the pollution status in Egypt to 138 micrograms of pollutants per meter cubed of air. This is much higher than the internationally accepted average, placing Egypt in the first place, only when it comes to pollution.
Facing this, we have 2 options. Either treat the symptoms superficially, or go back to the roots of the problem. We saw an opportunity in the waste of resources, from a blend between science and technology, which can action creating an enterprise of 2 production lines.
Our first production line is the banana fibers, where we utilize the pseudostem of the banana tree. In cooperation with MAN, charitable organization, we're providing grinding machines that will be used to extract these fibers. The fibers are then incorporated into textile productions, maximizing the profits. We taught the local women there how to do the process themselves. Then, they became actively engaged into teaching other women there how to use the machine, ensuring the sustainability of the project, as well as enabling them to develop their own businesses.
المشروع اللي هو التدوين وخلفات النمو، احنا في خلال المشروع بندرس 4 وظائف. أول وظيفة يعني أصلا كان المخلفات دي الفلاح اللي بعد ما بيقطعها بيستفيد منها وياخد منها فلوس خلاص بيحرق. طب لو ثاني وظائف اللي هي وظائف الزراعة، احنا بنخدمهم اللي هي أصلا احنا من ضمن المخلفات دي بعد ما نطلع الأنسجة اللي قدام حضرتك دي المخلفات اللي هي نوع الهاي بتاع المخلفات بنعمل منه سماك. فالعدوات الصباع، تنمية الزراعة.
Our second production line, Mo's fertilizer, aims to create a fertilizer out of the tree sap, which is quite rich in nutrients such as potassium and phosphorus. However, it lacked nitrogen. After doing some research, we came up with the idea of enriching the tree sap with nitrogen, using a natural, locally available alternative made up of cow urine and fermented milk, thus giving the farmers the ability to produce their own fertilizers. The fertilizer was also tested at the Agricultural Research Institute, and results showed that the fertilizer superseded ordinary fertilizers in the content of phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen, giving farmers a better, cheaper, and more eco-friendly option.
Economically, 15 women and 2 men, along with their families, were empowered, improving the livelihood of a total of 85 people. These are getting £100 gain from a product for 1 month. One family can now complete their education, improving the opportunities in life. Also, we saved the farmers £180 for every bag of fertilizer.
Considering the entrepreneurial impact, women and farmers now have the ability to manage their own production lines, actively teach each other, and level their and scale their lines up, paving the ways to be independent entrepreneurs.
These entrepreneurs, along with 10,000 villagers there, were connected to the external society, embracing the world, elevating their psychological status, as well as improving their social skills.
The environment as a whole was also improved by recycling the banana into fibers and fertilizers. By recycling the banana into fibers and fertilizers, we reduced the carbon footprint by 8,000 tons. But is that the only source of carbon emissions?
Sadly, it's not. In 1999, Egyptians first saw fumes coming from an unfamiliar source, threatening to choke the city. Every year, farmers burn the leftover rice straw, resulting in a black cloud, leaving Egyptians with the lungs, eyes, and noses burning.
Rice straw, however, can be used as a basic material for mushroom cultivation. And last year, that Ezra attempted to teach 6 hard-working women in Al-Warraq and instilled in them the necessary entrepreneurial skills needed. But we didn't stop there. This year, in cooperation with charitable organization in the small village of Atris, we targeted 5 women with an average income of only £350 per month. And in only 2 years, we were able to shift people's perspective towards rice straw from disposable waste doomed to be burned to an opportunity that will help them unleash their potential. After all, we went back to the roots of mycelium that mushroomed the income of those women. And here came the name, Better Lives Out of Mushrooms, Blue.
أنا حاسة إن إحنا حققنا تنمية مستدامة رائعة وجميلة والمرحلة الجاية بقى هنعلم عدد أكبر وهننتج أكتر.
Bloom's social impact is reflected on each of the 11 women. They teach an average of 2 to 3 of their neighbors to plant the mushroom at their houses. They are now empowered and able to face the daily burdens of life independently. This year, more than 700 kilograms of mushroom is expected to be produced, with a net profit of £10,000 for a 3-month cycle, which is 33% higher than last year's net gain. Further, shedding the lights on the economical aspect and proving our project sustainable.
Regarding the environmental impact, Bloom, you see, saved our environment from the disastrous carbon footprint of 1 million metric tons. Another plus, that growing mushroom doesn't require specific agricultural land. Instead, can take place in any humid empty space. In addition, no waste products are produced, and instead, the remaining rice straw can be reused for further planting processes. In this very case, we can consider ourselves fortunate that the straws are naturally available byproduct of the rice planting cycle.
Through a peculiar type of mushroom, we were able to provide helpless women with a living. However, not all organisms are created with this amazing potential. Other creatures, including humans, will be reliant on their basic needs. And what is more important than a safe access to clean water?
And this is where our story begins. Nearly 1 billion people around the world don't have access to a clean source of water.
People of Karun village have been drinking drained sewage water for 30 years. Numerous cases were diagnosed with dehydration, diarrhea, kidney stones, and renal failure. As a result, according to the Ministry of Health, 165 human souls are lost every year in Karun alone. Sadly, the water supply was cut off only when it started to eradicate complete families and resulted in a drop of life expectancy from 60 to 40 years.
A truck travels 30 kilometers to Akshaway, where the nearest water station is, fills up on water, and travels back to a point that is 2 kilometers far from the villagers. 22 times a month, women and children are forced to go back and forth on their legs, carrying home a massive 20 kilograms of polluted water.
For an average family of 8 people in Karun, 45 buckets of water are required, costing them £135 and nearly 3 days of walking per month. Some people even go through extra trouble to help their elderly neighbors who can't withstand the difficulties of such trips. So much trouble for what? A terrible taste, an appalling smell, and water you can't even see through. It's impossible to ask anyone to blossom under such conditions.
And this is where our project comes in. برنيل.
فكرة استخدام ماء المية من أماكن مكان التوزيع بمجهود بسيط جدا باستخدام برميل متحرك. ده بالإضافة إن أثناء حركة البرميل يتم التخلص من كل الشوائب العالقة والإيقاع المية باستخدام حاجة اسمها يوزر سيد فابريك بتبقى معدلة بالقماش بتاع بايسس.
This filtration process decreases the water turbidity by 96%. Ahmed, a local in the village, was able to create his own business with our help. He collects the barrels, both the new ones and the old ones, to be reused, and the blacksmith modifies them with a hand. So far, the blacksmith has made 35 barrels, and Ahmed is renting them to the locals. This story of Ahmed can be duplicated very easily in any area, as he only has to change the filter once a month. Now, Ahmed has a monthly profit of 1,050 pounds, giving him a 50% increase in his income.
Barnid can carry 200% more water than the buckets the villagers previously used. So, for the basic demand of 900 liters, the journey will be made only 7 times, summing up to walking 11 hours monthly. This will save the people 1/4 of the amount they used to pay. And the 35 buckets implemented will satisfy the needs of 17 distinct families per day, thus saving people time, money, and effort.
We were able to reuse the plastic barrels accumulated at homes instead of dumping them before their lifespan, and we were able to offer a local and natural solution from the rice husk filter.
We also made obtaining 60 liters of water much faster and easier than what it was like to get only 20 liters before. The villagers now get to practice other responsibilities or even start their own businesses, thus elevating social status. Last but not least, the elderly are no longer a burden on their neighbors, as they can get their own water by simply welling about.
And we're not going to stop there. Enactus Zewail City is planning on constructing a water treatment station inside Qarun. Now, not only is there no longer any need for the truck as the distance of the rolling is shorter, but we are also saving the people a staggering 90% of the 135 pounds they used to pay, making lives easier for the 20,000 villagers.
And going back to the roots of life,
What is more important than a safe and clean access to water?
Our past featured blue. Our present embraces Mustalarzes and Bernil. Speaking about our future,
In our modern world, education is no longer limited to schools or universities, as other offline and online alternatives are now pervasive.
unfortunately though, many people don't have access to educational institutes that offer courses they'd love to learn. On the other hand, there are other people who have the knowledge to offer, but are unemployed, accounting for about 78% of all youth in Egypt.
So we go back to the roots of education, and we see the Library of Alexandria, the first educational platform connecting learners and educators together. Out of the need to reignite the people's interest in what they really love, from crochet to quantum mechanics, Idikawi emerged, a website that connects a learner who is restricted by time, money, or location, with a teacher who has the sufficient knowledge to offer. Via a map, suggestions of nearby users will be offered to facilitate offline face-to-face meetings.
By this, we've merged the best of both worlds, so that everyone from all age groups and all backgrounds get to share their passion, in a blend between the familiarity of the old school style and the modernness of our 21st century.
We surveyed over 300 people for courses they'd love to learn, and these are the results.
Educawi has been launched, accessible from desktops, laptops, and tablets. Users can simply sign up, providing their personal information and skills they want to teach or learn. Anyone can subscribe from any device. Learners have the freedom to select and also rate the instructor they want, and vice versa. Learners and educators may then come together to create a small project or even their own business.
And for those who don't have any internet access, our future includes collaborating with NGOs so that those people can head to the NGOs and make their own accounts. We're also working on a mobile application with the interface ready. At long last, planting all the roots together, we get the 17 goals of the United Nations.
I do not know why I get to have water when I turn a tap, while others have to walk 2 kilometers to reach the nearest source of water. I do not know why I get to breathe clean air, while others are not so lucky. And I do not know why I get to study what I love, while others with twice the potential that I have do not get that opportunity. But I do know that we will do everything we can to try to help those people. We are trying to change the world. We are Enactus Zewail City.